Welcome back to my coverage of the Salt Mine. We have Chronic and CRR both fighting for a chance to be in the Final Four bracket, get to those best of sevens, and Chronic and CRR have a little bit of history in the Salt Mine. It was CRR's win over Chronic that he felt he needed to get back and was most excited to get back and play against CRR. There was an interview between him and Johnny Boy where he mentioned he wanted his second chance at CRR. He wanted to see that he could take him down. I think he felt like he could. We actually had him in a show match on my stream. If you didn't see, in between the Salt Mine splits, or stages, I guess is the right word for it, as a warm-up for this next stage, Chronic and CRR played a show match. Because they were in opposite pools, it seemed like maybe there's a good chance they won't rematch, but they did rematch, as you can see here. In that best of 5 before this one, CRR was able to get the win in Game 5. So CRR winning the last two matchups between these two. Chronic now has another chance to get his revenge, his double revenge, and certainly it'll be nicer than just the preparing match that was a show match. Right now, worth a lot more as it's happening in the Salt Mine. Chronic finds himself down though. CRR in the orange, Chronic in the blue. Chronic flicking top right, does get his goal. A minute 30 in, and he's finally able to get on the board. I feel like I've seen a good amount of low-scoring games in this Salt Mine, more than I'm used to seeing in ones. Maybe the defense picking up a bit. CRR going to start a dribble from a pretty tough position. As impressive as it is to get it going from there, the finish has to be good, otherwise it's just going to be an easy save. That's exactly what it is for Chronic. 360s his way into his second possession here, multiple resets. Chronic is one of the more entertaining players to watch in the air. CRR bumped out of this play. Chronic wants a rolling ball to the corner, so he takes his time. Almost takes a bit too much, but CRR is not able to get back. And, oh, that's it. Off the post and in. I was going to say, if that bounced out, Chronic probably wasn't going to be able to get down to the ground and back up in time to get an angle on the goal. But if it just bounces directly in, he doesn't need to. Chronic. 50 in the corner. He's going to reset fully. CRR trying to snipe a little demo. Not going to work, but he has done a decent job of preventing Chronic from getting his clean possession that he was obviously trying to work for. Reset from CRR. Never felt like he had a shot, so he doesn't take one. Chronic not going to try and continue to dive when out of boost. Only a demo would have made that worthwhile, and it would have been extremely risky. CRR should be on the board with the second as he flicks over the top of Chronic. Chronic staring down CRR. Low 50. He tries to set up a possession in the corner. Really didn't get anything out of it. CRR, though, not the pinch clear he wanted. He was looking to get that ball completely out of play. And instead, spent a little bit of boost just to roll it at CRR, or at Chronic, which is just about the worst possible result. CRR from the back wall gets interrupted by the ceiling, and so he'll go try again, but I don't think that boost is going to spawn for him in time. So he's going to be forced to play it with very little and, yeah, ultimately give the ball away. Chronic wanted to go up to protect the ball and do his best to soft touch to maintain his advantage. These two just vying for a clean opportunity, and it seems like Chronic is going to be the first one to get it. Set up from his back corner, too strong of a first touch. That ball at ceiling height, it could not possibly get touched again and still be controlled or really threaten a shot very effectively. So Chronic just decides not to follow up that first touch. Now he will launch a flick. That'll force CRR high in the backboard. Means a couple easy boost steals. Chronic seems very willing to get these full resets all the way back into his half, where he wants to attack with space in front of him. But nothing comes out of this one. Chronic is going to stick around to play, see what he can do to throw off CRR. Got him to roll the ball to the side wall and steal some boosts, and now he's got him to hand it over. So with a 3-2 lead, might just be able to hold on and win this game. One of the lowest scorelines we've seen. Ooh, that was a chance for CRR. Oh, wow. Favorable bounce for Chronic. Not that he wouldn't have been able to handle it, but he does win game number 1 against CRR. Game number 2, Chronic with the early lead as we see the front flip kickoff on the completely straight setup. Can't wait to do that more in my games and have my excuse be that the pros are doing it too. That's the only reason, not because I'm trash at speed flips. CRR wants the 50. Chronic does a good job of preventing it from getting anywhere near the net. He pitches it away. A little bit of a game of chicken here as the ball floating. Who's going to be the first to try and go up and get it? Who's going to maintain boost? Chronic both times decided to be the one who played passive. Now, as a result, he's got himself in his back corner. CRR with a boost reset. Tap to the midfield. Chronic has nothing left, but CRR actually put it back at Chronic. I don't know if he thought Chronic was going to be flying past the net and he was trying to, put it behind him, or if he just didn't recognize that Chronic was going to be covering late. He could not cover the other half of the net. Chronic, nice defense. His defense will keep him with a clean slate and a 1-0 lead in the series so far that has been very low scoring. But that could change very quickly, and this is usually how. Lots of kickoff goals. CRR able to dunk this in. And now we have 2. Not the best setup off the wall for CRR, but he will just reset, gets Chronic in the air, immediately pulls off the boost, pulls off everything, and does its best to try and sneak it underneath the pre-jump. Chronic does well, though, to not overshoot his pre-jump and not go flying over the top predictably, but instead attacking the ball, attacking the play, keeping himself relevant, and then gives CRR an easy setup for a 2-1 lead. Another game of chicken here, this time on the goal line. CRR doesn't have a lot of boost to really do anything, though. No surprise that Chronic is the one forced up to make the clear. Can he get this in? I mean, sometimes you'll see players, even on low dribbles, kind of scoop the ball, give it a bit of extra height, a bit of extra power. Even though it's a fairly tame shot, it's so surprising he can't score. Chronic was on the verge of that there. CRR trying to slot top right. Chronic has to save. Oh, that has to be an accident, right? It seemed like he was trying to get a first touch up in the air to start a dribble, but he just drives right underneath the ball. Chronic can't quite get it over the top of him and into the net. So he will try again. This time he does connect on his first touch to start the dribble, and he wanted the low 50. Shout out CRR. I mean, the defense has just been really good to not get faked. Still kind of, cover the high options. It wasn't like he just stayed grounded and it worked out for him. He covered everything and didn't allow that goal line 50 to find its way in. Might be looking at another fairly low scoring game. Chronic, he's going to carry this ball away from CRR to get one of his favorite dribbles, reset at ceiling height. He actually just shows it instantly because he sees CRR a bit out of position, not prepared to stop the quick shots. That's what he sends at him. A defender in net, prepared, loves to see somebody using their reset that high up in the air, that far away from the net. It's so easy to react when you're already there and ready to make the play. But if you're swinging wide and not in position to cover the quickness. That could be a great counter. Chronic gonna make it 3-2. A minute 30. And this 1-goal lead feeling like a bigger one than it normally does in 1v1 because of the way this has been played between these two. Wow, nice ceiling pinch by CRR to keep Chronic from getting a play. Just need a little bit more power on the follow-up. Chronic wants his wall to air dribble. CRR not going to let him have it. CRR is eventually forced to leave, though. Chronic, you want to play it off the ground. I mean, he's played so much of air dribbles on all those bounces previously. I think he was maybe even hoping for CRR to pre-jump on that first bounce that he didn't take. Instead, let it rest on top of his car on the second one. CRR, who hadn't really seen that all series long yet, decides to try and dive on his first attempt and ends up being the wrong answer to Chronic's flick. Now Chronic with another one, 5-2. 41 seconds. CRR has to get up to get just enough of a touch. That's a good adjustment on the landing to make sure that the first touch of the ball is headed towards the blue net. That way he can rush it there before Chronic's recovery. Also to kind of kill the bounce as well. So just letting it bounce high where it can't be handled. CRR wants top right. Chronic covers it. Defense has been the name of the game in this series so far. That shot never stood a chance. CRR needs this goal, and it's a fake, and it's a goal. 5 seconds. That is something that CRR can work with. Will we see a delay? Will we see... We did see a delay. We saw it from Chronic, though. Delay, wave dash, kickoff. And it's a perfect possession for CRR. Not quite perfect. I guess it could be a bit better. Oh, my goodness, CRR. He did everything he needed to. This is a goal. If he just had a little bit of time left on the clock, that is bouncing in for sure, but it does hit the ground in 0 seconds. So Chronic with a Game 2 win. So we head to Game 3. A heartbreaker for CRR in game number 2. Is it something he can mentally bounce back from? Chronic's going to start Game 3, where he is most lethal. CRR gets a save, and actually gets a really solid save, one that goes off the backboard and sets him up for a goal. CRR says most lethal. I don't know about that. I'm going to turn his wall to air dribbles into my goals. Chronic with a delay touch. Just buy himself a bit of time to get a 100 boost. Reset. So he doesn't have to defend with 0 against an early possession. And works out well as CRR gets just about nothing out of his full boost play from the midfield. And Chronic will get himself another goal. Not a ton of fake kickoffs, or I should say maybe none so far in the matchup between these two. The diagonals are oftentimes where that'll happen. Chronic just sending the ball to the back wall of CRR. Maybe thought there was a window he could get that in the nets. His ground game worked well earlier. This time it's going to be a bounce dribble hook shot. CRR. Wow. The defense has been impeccable. I mean, those are shots that by all means should go in and no one would blame you with how well it was placed, how much power was put behind it. CRR keeps the game tied, but only briefly, as he cannot control this possession in his own corner. Wave dash kickoff for Chronic. Make it 3-1. Kickoff goals in this series, they just seem to hit even harder with how low scoring it's been and how hard earned every single goal has become. To see someone get one, fairly easy. And Chronic, CRR I think just got a little bit, desperate. I think he felt like he should have scored there when he had a chance. Sent it a bit high. Found himself in the opposite corner and said, how do I get this back? How do I cut this in and make something out of this possession? And could not find it. Found himself in too deep. Chronic, that's a great save off his crossbar. But what a pre-jump. Convinced CRR to not even go for it. Chronic, the double. Oh my goodness. We switched POV to watch it happen from CRR's perspective, but man, Chronic just ate that air dribble alive. 5-1 lead to accent his 2-0 lead in the series. These two rushing back to the ball. Chronic was maybe thinking about demoing CRR. CRR throwing the reverse card at him, taking him out. Nice speed. It's a great play from CRR. A good way to get himself back into this game, which has been a bit tough for him. Mirrored wave dash kickoffs. Will favor CRR. Oh, wow. What a creative. Oh, it's not going to be a goal. I mean, both these guys on 0 boost. It's tough to get power. He kind of used that flip, teeing off the ground a little bit to actually get a pretty decent shot. Chronic, though, keeps it out. Those have got to hurt when you're trying to work your way back. CRR in no man's land here with his possession. Find himself on the wrong side of the ball. Can't really get around it in time to make anything out of it. And so the ball just bouncing on top of his car, and he doesn't know what to do with it. Can't really just give it away either because he doesn't have the boost to recover. Turns out he never really found the answer. This all comes down to that mechanical misstep that I think made him lose control in the first place. Now 7-2 for Chronic. 2 minutes left to go. Chronic sends this one high. It's just enough on this. CRR was on the right side of the ball. Chronic was just underneath it, but he basically saved it into the ceiling instead of allowing it to cross the field. Chronic sneaks this underneath CRR. CRR can't hold on to the possession. Has to be forced into defense. That's a really smooth catch by CRR. Didn't get his flick going quick enough. I mean, Chronic has just need to shut everything down. It's going to be a goal for Chronic. Every time CRR seems like he might have, a promising play ready to go. Nothing comes of it, and he's out of the game. He is out of the game, and it looks like a forfeit. Chronic 8-2 with 1:13 left to go. I mean, to be fair, Chronic had started to eat him alive. Absolutely nothing was going CRR's way. So Chronic a 3-0, and he will advance into the top 4 of Stage 2.